It's not just British banks who want your money. Foreign banks, including those from Iceland, are also chasing your cash. But the Financial Services Authority says British savers must look beyond high interest rates when they decide where to put their money. The FSA has told Channel 4 News that consumers should consider other factors, including protection for their deposits in the extremely unlikely event that a bank gets into trouble. The FSA's concerns come as several foreign banks enter the savings market here with eye-catching rates. Two of those institutions are Icelandic, and although they're profitable, some in the banking sector say the Icelandic system involves greater risks for savers. With British people investing £6 billion in more than 170,000 Icelandic accounts, how should consumers decide where to put their money? Here's our economics correspondent, Faisal Islam.
It may be an isolated volcanic rock in the northern Atlantic, but Iceland is booming. Now the most developed country in the world, says the UN, an economy more famous for the cod wars, now the epicentre of a dramatic takeover and banking boom. British brands like House of Fraser and West Ham United now owned here. And at the very moment we're all encouraged to save more, Icelandic banks have shaken up our staid savings market.
Now, we all know about this country's volcanic activity, but in the past year or so, Iceland's financial eruption has been no less spectacular. This tiny country of 300,000 people has managed to snaffle £6 billion of British internet savings in just 18 months. But just how stable is Iceland's financial system?
Under the brand name IceSave, Iceland's biggest bank, Landsbanki, has led the way, winning 170,000 accounts and is growing by 1,000 depositors a day. Kaupthing's Edge account launched just a month ago. Both banks have won over savers by offering the highest saving rates. Both point to their high profits and sound credit rating as evidence of their financial strength. But some in the city have concerns.
The reaction of international money markets to events in Iceland is that the risk is growing and the appetite for that risk is receding, clearly. And the Icelandics have had to look elsewhere. They have found a ready market in the UK. Retail saving community. The context really is that we have an economy in Iceland that has a population of barely 300,000, which is the size of Coventry.
Savings in the UK have been driven by the so-called best buy tables in newspaper personal finance pages and on the internet. Foreign banks from Turkey, Nigeria and Iceland have dominated recently, attracting business by offering the highest rate. Now Britain's financial regulator says that customers of all banks must look deeper.
Certainly it's the eye-catching element, certainly in advertising and the comparison tables, the best buy tables that are out there, both through newspapers and over the internet. So it's the element that catches the eye. Again, I think we all have a responsibility in the media and in financial services more generally to get the message across to consumers that they need to look beyond that headline rate. So it's an important factor, but there are other elements in making good, solid investment decisions.
What about another league table used by city traders to rank the risks for banks raising cash from money markets rather than savers? These are complex trades called credit default swaps, or CDS. They allow investors to rate the chances of a bank defaulting on its corporate debts. 0 means no chance of default. Now Lloyds TSB rates 85 basis points and HSBC slightly higher. Bradford and Bingley, a second-tier UK bank, is just over 300. Meanwhile, Landsbanki stands at 469 and Kaupthing is much higher at 706.
At face value, the market is certainly indicating that it's very risky. A typical European financial institution would be well within the range of 40 to 80 basis points. And you're right, we're seeing basis points of 250, 350, even 450 for some banks. So at face value, the market is saying we see these institutions as far riskier than average, by multiples of 4, 5, 6, 10. So one has to look at this very seriously.
Kaupthing told us in a statement that it has a very strong funding position and strong ratings from 3 international ratings agencies. All Icelandic banks are experiencing wide CDS spreads, it's said, but this volatility has no real bearing on its true cost of funds. In private, some Icelandic financiers believe they're being pounced upon by secretive hedge funds. When I visited Iceland's central bank, the governor, an ex-prime minister, admitted that these rates were too high, but given a strong economy and a government that's net debt-free, the markets were unjustly punishing his country's banks.
The economy of this country is quite extraordinarily good. Maybe it is that Iceland is far away in the distance, smaller country, and people begin to speculate. I think that the CDS that are so much higher on some of these banks than on the average elsewhere is not fair and shouldn't be so high. So I think it takes an explanations and explaining both from the banks and from the state to get the CDS down to some ordinary things, because no banks can live forever with CDS up to 600, 500, 600.
Of course, all savers should be protected from financial market volatility and the low risk of a bank going bust by deposit protection schemes. With a UK bank, the first £35,000 of deposits is covered. That's also true of a foreign bank operating in the UK as a subsidiary, as is the case at the moment with Kaupthing Edge. But some foreign banks operate in the UK as a branch. Then consumers rely first on the foreign deposit protection scheme. So IceSave is covered by the Icelandic Deposit Protection Scheme first. Kaupthing 2 reserves the right to switch deposits so that they're covered in this way. The Icelandic Deposit Scheme would be responsible for an amount in euros worth just under £16,000 of your savings. For the remaining £19,000, you'd then turn to the UK scheme. The FSA would not talk about specific banks or countries, but said savers should now be looking at deposit protection regimes.
They do need to consider other factors, such as what is the compensation arrangements, and would encourage them, when considering an investment, to talk to the provider in the first instance to get an understanding of what the compensation arrangements are, so that they're clear about that, should the very unlikely event of a firm getting into trouble actually occur.
Could a country like Iceland actually shell out the huge sums that it now guarantees? Could cost up to £3 billion, a third of the island's GDP. Well, the banks say that scenario is completely hypothetical, and despite the credit crunch, they're actually doing better than leading American and Swiss banks.
Looking at Landsbank's capital strength, its liquidity strength, its profitability, the fact that we have absolutely no exposures to subprime mortgages or to CDOs or all the plethora of things which have been affecting the performance of other banks in the world. I'm really very comfortable about our business and our financial strength.
Iceland's central bank governor says his country can afford to guarantee all deposits.
These banks are so sound that nothing like that is likely to ever happen. And if something would happen, you would never have been talking about the whole amount of money, because it is never like that. But even so, the Icelandic economy, the state being debtless, this would not be too much for the state to swallow, if it would like to swallow it.
The traditional rules of banking are being revolutionised, not just in Iceland but all over the world. After the physical run was over, deposits continued to flee Northern Rock for months, but regulatory studies have shown that deposits are systematically less stable, less sticky in the jargon. The FSA is warning all banks, particularly internet ones, to prepare accordingly.
The FSA research has shown that the rise in internet banking, but also the shift in internet news dissemination and rumours through the internet, has caused retail deposits to be less sticky, which means they're more likely to move in and out of an institution. So what we're saying at the FSA is we've actually asked all firms to look at how they stress test both the stickiness of their deposit base and the liquidity management, but also the operational infrastructure, so the technology behind that, to make sure that they're able to handle this change in the way deposits actually move.
The Icelandic banks disagree. Landsbank's IceSave says that its deposit base is just as stable as any other.
We've seen the stickiness of our deposits through the turbulence of the credit crunch, and yet we continue to attract savers, and we've been very successful. So I think it's down to, if we carry on offering and delivering to people what they expect we expect that they'll want to stay with us.
There is a message from here in Reykjavik, and it's relevant for Lagos, Ankara, Mumbai and even Newcastle, that the murky, complex financial world of hedge funds, rampant rumours and loan guarantees that solely used to be the domain of city traders is now relevant and should be studied by you, the ordinary saver. You'll have to get to grips with complexities like credit default swaps and the finer details of the Icelandic deposit protection scheme. This is the world of banking in the credit freeze.
As money floods from Britain to savings banks around the world, British regulators are, we understand, toying with the idea of offering an identical deposit guarantee to all savers. That would be simpler, but runs the risk of foreign banks free riding on the British taxpayer. It's just one more credit crunch conundrum. Faisal Islam for Channel 4 News in Iceland.